Hello my lovely crafters, this is Crafty Sue 519. Welcome to my channel and welcome to Tea Tuesday. Now I know I went a little overboard last week and took a lot longer to tell my story than usual, but that was something I had to do. I just had to do that. So I apologize for the length of it, but it was a good story anyhow. So today, I was trying to think, what am I going to tell them about today? Well, let's talk about woman power. Woman bucking the system and an all-male endeavor. That was me. Alrighty, let's do this first. I got more tea in the mail from my friend Carla, Sassy Crafter Carlita L. Thank you, Carla. Ooh, and I'm gonna pick one of these. And I think I'm gonna try this orange spice black tea. It sounds yummy. Have my little biscotti here. So let me get this out of the packet and steeping. Well, I start talking. Okay. This water's very hot. It was boiling. It was boiling hot. Okay, let this do its thing. Alrighty. As most of you know, if you're a regular to my channel, you know I have 3 sons, Jay, Jeffrey, and Joshua. I had 3 boys in 4 years, so they're very close in age. And as they grew older and were in school, the schools, will have sign-ups for certain things that you can sign your kids up for. And it came the time for, oh, this smells so good already. Came the time for scouting. So we lived out in the country and we thought scouting would be a great thing for the boys to be involved in. So my husband at the time took my 3 sons down to the school to sign them up for scouting. So they were different ages, so they were in different levels of scouting. And several days after he had done that, the phone rang. And the call was for me. And it was from this gentleman. His name was Paul Scaba. And he was the Cub Master for our local Cub Scout group. Well, he said to me, I have the list of boys that are going to be in your den. And I said, what are you talking about? I didn't sign up to be a den leader. And he says, I know. He says, your husband did when he was down here signing up the boys. I almost died. He says, here are the names of the 12 boys that will be in your den. 12 boys. Oh my gosh. And this was Cub Scouts. So they were like 2nd graders, something like that. 12. Couldn't believe it. So I don't know what made me say yes, but I said yes, and I will do it. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll do it. And he said, just get the Cub Scout book and follow it and teach them the things that are in the book. And I said, okie dokie. Well, I think we had our meetings on Wednesday nights. And in my basement, because I did not want 12 young boys running around my house, I had a big table down there and everything for them to sit at. And I have to tell you, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. Best things that ever happened to me. We did awesome. My little den did awesome. Every month when we had our Cub Scout meeting at the church, we had to display a craft that we made during the month. Well, that was right up my alley. And the Cub Master would assign first, second, and third place ribbons to those who did the best on their craft for the month. And yes, I'm going to brag. My den, my 12 boys won every single month. I think the other dens hated me. We won every month, and we had maybe 5 or 6 dens of boys in our little Cub Scout troop. So we went through Cub Scouts. We did great. We excelled at everything. We just had a really good group of kids and parents. Parents were very important. And this is where I met my yayas. You know, that group of ladies that I'm so close with from Rhode Island. We've been friends for like 30 years now. And 2 of their boys were in my den. That's how I met them. And the other, one of my sons was a little older, so he wasn't in my den. And her son was in the same den as him, and that's how we met. And the 4 of us became fast friends. And we still are to this day. So, come the time when Cub Scouts make a decision to transfer over to Boy Scouting. And it's a big deal in Scouting. They were Weeblo Scouts, and they had competed in Pinewood Derbies and winter derbies, and we just had such a wonderful, wonderful time. And we crossed them over, and one of the dads was very, very crafty as well. And he made these beautiful plaques for the boys, these wooden plaques, long and narrow, and on it he had attached an arrow, and he had little nameplates made for each boy, and he put it on them. So when we had our crossover ceremony, each boy was awarded one of these plaques. I really wish I had pictures of that. I might somewhere, but my old pictures are hard to get to. Hard to get to. Oh, what an emotional night that was for me. My babies were leaving. They were going to Boy Scouts. Well, you don't think this was going to stop this lady. I had just spent about 4 years with these boys. I wasn't going to let my babies go. So I went to the priest at our church and asked him if we could start a Boy Scout troop. And he was not crazy about it at first. How much am I going to have to do, blah, blah, blah. But I was really good friends with him, and I said, come on. I said, you don't have to do anything but one Mass a year. That is Cub Scout Sunday. And I like to do campouts. And if you could come on Sunday morning and do Mass, that would be great. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. So he agreed. And we started our own Boy Scout troop that our Cub Scouts could cross over into. So that was exciting. So that was exciting. And I went over to the Boy Scout troop. But I also stayed with the Cub Scouts as their new Cub mistress. Not Cub master. I was the Cub mistress. I loved Cub Scouting. I loved the activities in it. I loved everything about it. So I stayed with them for a couple of years while my boys were in Boy Scouting, but I was on the advancement committee for a Boy Scout troop as well. Oh gosh. Well, the Boy Scout leader and I did not see eye to eye at all. And I don't think he liked having women involved. He had been involved with scouting ever since he was a child. And we just didn't see eye to eye. I don't dislike him. He's a very good person. We just didn't get along scouting-wise. Love that tea. So we had our battles, believe me, we had our battles. And lo and behold, and I'm skipping through years because this story would take longer than last week's. Lo and behold, the very first Eagle Scout to come out of that new Boy Scout troop was my oldest son. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. He went to the meeting where they interviewed him and decided whether or not he had accomplished everything that he had to do to become an Eagle Scout. And Paul, the leader, and I and my husband were waiting outside to see whether or not he would become an Eagle. And the door opened and, oh, the tension. And they came out and said, congratulations, Jay is now an Eagle Scout. Oh, that was such a big deal. It was such a big deal. And fun, because we had to plan a big Eagle Scout ceremony for him, and that was a big deal. We did it at the theater in our little town, and it was packed with people. Everybody came, that was involved in scouting, and because it's a real big deal when a boy earns Eagle Scout. There's a lot that goes into that. And being me and my mouth, I walked up to Paul and I looked at him and I said, for the rest of your life, you will know that a Langless boy was the first Eagle Scout in this troop. Oh, felt so good. Because he bucked me on so many things. So Carol and I crossed many barriers for females in Boy Scouting. We went to Boy Scout camp for a week. Oh, they did horrible things to us. They put us in tents with holes so that critters could get into our tents. They ignored us. They yelled at us. They booed us. They did not like women being at Boy Scout camp. But you know what? Dads were not volunteering to go. And you needed people to go with these kids to Boy Scout camp. Not all the leaders could always be there. And you needed volunteers. And Carol and I volunteered to go. And we went every single year. We had a blast. And everyone knew us by the time that our boys were done with scouting. We had such a good time. They had a special cabin. And this camp in Rhode Island is absolutely fantastic. It's called Camp Iago. And a lot of Boy Scout troops come from Long Island, New York, and they cross over the water to Rhode Island. And their troops come, and it's beautiful campground. Absolutely gorgeous. Big lake, out in the woods. It was just wonderful. I mean, there was a special cabin that was for adults only. So once the kids were settled at nighttime, you could go down there and get together with other leaders and stuff, and just chit chat and have a good time for a little while before you walked back to your campsite and went to bed. Well, Carol and I got so spoiled going to that cabin. It was so much fun. There were two older gentlemen from Newport, and they loved us. And they would send messages up to our campsite to be here by such and such a time. We have lobster and steak for you tonight. Be here at such and such a time. We have fresh shrimp and whatever. Oh my gosh, the stuff that they would cook for us, which was wonderful. Because the food that you got at camp was so horrible. The mess hall food was a mess. Not very good. So we were spoiled. Every night we walked down there and they treated us with such wonderful things. Oh, they were great guys. Great guys. And just so many wonderful experiences. I would have to be here forever to tell you everything we went through. Well, it ended up that I spent 11 years volunteering in Boy Scouts. My boys were not in Boy Scouts for 11 years, but their mom was. I loved it. Came a time where you have a person from the main, I don't remember what everything's called now. It's been a long time. You have a person from the main headquarters in your state that is assigned to your troop and pack, and they make sure that you're doing everything correctly, and they come to your meeting every now and again and check things out. And my guy was Bill, and we became fast friends. We were really, really good friends. And he would even come up to camp to see me, and we would go out and have a cup of coffee and talk about stuff. And he was a great guy. He was single at the time. He's married now with 2 sons of his own. And we had a really good relationship. And he came to me one day and he said, I really want to nominate you as district commissioner for the Thunder Miss district. And I said, a female has never been a district commissioner. That's not going to fly with all the men that are in that committee. And he says, you are the best qualified person to take this job. I would like you to be the new commissioner. Now, what this entails is you are the head of all of the Cub Scout troops and all the Boy Scout troops in a particular area. And this would entail, I'm counting on my fingers, Burrillville, Smithfield, North Smithfield, Woonsocket, Bellingham, Blackstone. About 6 towns and cities, maybe more. I might be forgetting a couple. And I would have to go and check all of these, something like what Bill did. And it was always a big deal when I would show up, you know, because I was elected the commissioner, the first woman in 82 years to be a commissioner in Boy Scouting. So that was quite an accomplishment for me. I didn't like it because I no longer had anything to do with the kids directly. I was dealing with adults. And you know how tough we can be. I wasn't crazy about that job. But I did do it for a couple of years and then retired from scouting. But I'll tell you, it was fun. It was fun breaking barriers. It was fun seeing men really dislike you for being at camp. And by the end of the week, being almost your best friend because you had such a good time together. And I have to admit, I was very creative in some of the things that I came up with to do at camp. We would have water gun fights and races and at dinner time in the mess hall, you could get up after dinner and challenge other people to these crazy little battles and see who would win. And we did that. And we had a blast. And that really, I think, paved the way for a lot more moms to be able to come to camp with their kids. Because dads couldn't do it because of work or they just didn't want to. You know, it really changed scouting a lot. Now Boy Scouting allows girls in it. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I think the program is much, much better than Girl Scout program. I was a Girl Scout when I was a kid. It was pretty boring. I don't know how much it's changed through the years. But Boy Scouts was much more active, much more hands-on things, a lot more fun. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. But anyhow, those were a couple of my experiences, and I could go into so many more details about the crazy things that we did and how much fun we had and best times with my boys and all the rest of my boys that were in my den and were there. I am very, very grateful for those years. 11 years volunteering. Didn't get paid for anything. You're a volunteer. And I have an Eagle Scout and 2 Life Scouts, which are A Life Scout is the rank right before Eagle. And neither one finished. I was so disappointed. They only had one more thing to do, and neither one of them did it. But that's okay. That was their choice. And I must say, with Jay being an Eagle Scout, when he joined the Army, he went up a rank. If you're an Eagle Scout and you join the military, you go in one rank higher than everybody else who was not. So he already had a head start in the Army because of scouting. Great program. Great, great program. Love it to this day. Ironically, my 3 grandsons, not one of them is in it. I'm really sorry about that because I think they'd have a blast. So anyway, that's my Boy Scout story. And I'm sticking to it. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. And until next time, love yous. Bye.